10 points and 7 rebounds, and this was in about 24 minutes. I'm just choosing him because the Atlanta Hawks believe in him. He does a lot of things well. He can score, he can rebound, he's an okay defender. He's got some room to improvement. The debate I had was between him and Trae Young, and I just don't think Trae Young is ready for that yet. Maybe Trae Young ends up being the better player overall in 3 or 4 years. But for now, I think if anyone has a chance to break out and to really improve their game, it'd be John Collins, because he's already got 1 season under his belt in the NBA. Trae Young doesn't. Like I said, Trae Young needs to work on his body. He needs to work on the pacing of the NBA, tries to limit turnovers. I don't think he's ready for a breakout year. I think if anyone is ready on the Hawks, it is John Collins.
Yeah, I also this seems to be the pretty much overall consensus that John Collins will break out this year, that he'll have a real good year. A lot of people like John Collins, so it makes perfect sense. I also like Taurean Prince. Now he's a little older; he's 24 years old, but I have a feeling that once Bazemore gets traded, I think Taurean Prince will have a pretty much a general nice overall season. Probably will never become a star, but I think he'll be a good starter in the league someday. So a trade idea for the Hawks now. A quick side note: a lot of these trades for this division, and this just so happened when I came up with, is going to be between 2 teams in the division. For me, it just worked out that way. When I was looking at the rosters, I felt that some of these players made most sense by proposing trades within the division. But so I have the Hawks receiving Kelly Oubre, Ian Mahinmi, Jason Smith, and Jody Meeks, who are 2 expiring contracts. Hawks receiving their own 2019 second-round pick back from the Wizards, and the Wizards' 2023 second-round pick. And the Wizards receiving Kent Bazemore and Dwayne Dedmon. Now, here I have the Hawks receiving a couple of draft assets, their own 2019 second-round pick, which should be a high pick, and Kelly Oubre. They're essentially receiving Ian Mahinmi, who has 2 years left on his contract, and a similar contract to Kent Bazemore. That way Washington is saving some money because they're over the luxury tax. And Washington gets another wing here in Kent Bazemore and Dwayne Dedmon, which I think they need pretty much a stretch 4, stretch 5 out there to supplement Dwight Howard and Markieff Morris in a way. So I have them receiving a couple of solid players here. It seems like they still want to compete for at least another year, see what they could do. Kelly Oubre will be a restricted free agent, and it might be hard for them to keep him because he's going to demand probably somewhere between 10 and 12 million at least. So I think it'd be hard for him to keep him, and I think it'd be fun to see what he could do for Atlanta with a lot more minutes. And those second-round picks would also be nice for the Hawks. How do you feel about this trade?
Yeah, I think for the Wizards, it gives them a better chance to win now. You get to lose Mahinmi, who's pretty much been a disaster for them. And Dwayne Dedmon has shown that he's a good defender, and he's worked on his game. He's worked on his shooting. He's worked on finishing around the rim. So I do believe that, that helps there. Kent Bazemore and Kelly Oubre. Obviously, Kelly Oubre is a little bit younger, so he has a little bit more potential. But Kent Bazemore is a better player right now. So if the Wizards are really into winning now, and they should be because they do have, at least 2 All-Stars on this team, then they should pursue this trade. I think for the Hawks, it gives you Kelly Oubre, who's a nice young player. It fits their timeline a little better. And, you get the 2 picks in the draft. So, yeah, you can do it if there's no better deals. If there's nothing else being out there for Kent Bazemore or Dwayne Dedmon, you make this trade, you get Kelly Oubre, you get a few second-round picks, and, you just go from there.
All right. Our next team we'll be previewing is the Orlando Magic. And what is their over-under?
So the over-under was 31.5 games. Their record last year was 25-57, so Vegas does have them projected to win 6 more games than this year. I believe they do so because they've added Mo Bamba and I think they just added Mo Bamba and re-signed Aaron Gordon. I'm a little bit surprised that it was this high. I actually believe Orlando. I'm also going to take the under here. I like some of their young players and I like some of the draft picks they made the past 2 years. I just don't think that I don't know if they have resolved like the fit on the team. Similar to the Suns, who we talked about, they don't really have a point guard. So, and they have a lot of talented bigs. I mean, they have Vucevic, who they're trying to trade now, and it'd be nice if they can get a point guard out of it. But it'd be hard to trade for Vucevic right now just because he, isn't a modern-day big man. So I have the under. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have them at 28 wins. I don't see much improvement for this team. Mo Bamba and Jonathan Isaac are still pretty raw. Aaron Gordon, I actually like Aaron Gordon, but he is really relying on his athleticism and not much on his talent. So I don't see him ever developing. I don't even see him developing into an all-star. I see him developing more into like a fringe all-star where he just misses out of the all-star game for a couple of seasons. But yeah, they don't have much depth on this team. They have a lot of injuries with Vucevic and Evan Fournier. Their one point guard, I believe, is DJ Augustin, who's a solid point guard, but he's probably one of the worst starters in terms of the point guard position. So yeah, I don't see them definitely having over 31.5 wins. I don't see them going up to 32. So I have them at 28 wins. Who do you think is going to be the breakout star for this team?
Yeah, so I think to me it's pretty clear that Jonathan Isaac's going to be the breakout star. He's also the rookie from last year. He was injured a little bit last year, so he only played, I believe, in 30 games, or maybe 50. I could be wrong. But he averaged 6 points last year, a few rebounds. His defensive numbers were not as good, but Jonathan Isaac had a really good summer league. From everything I've heard, he's really overcome the injury he's had, and he's ready to play. I was high on Jonathan Isaac 2 years ago in the draft. I loved watching him play at Florida State. He was really good at almost everything he did. He brings a lot of different things to the table. He is a perfect 3-4 in today's NBA. Maybe can be the stretch 5. So I believe he's going to be the breakout player. I think he's probably the most talented player on the team. I am a little bit worried that just because they have so many bigs, he might not get the right amount of time. I was a little bit surprised that the Magic did take Aaron Gordon, just because I would like to see the Magic invest on the development of Jonathan Isaac and Mo Bamba. Maybe the Magic took Aaron Gordon to eventually trade him. Which, okay, if that's the case, then that'd be pretty cool. But if not, I do hope that Jonathan Isaac can get that time. I think the other player I thought about as a breakout player would be Mo Bamba, but I think just similar to Trae Young, even though I think he's a little bit more polished and ready for an NBA, he will need at least another year at least 1 year under his belt to really become like the defensive talent that he's supposed to be in the NBA.
To touch on the Aaron Gordon situation, I think they almost had to keep him. They've really literally given up most of their first-round picks over the last 5 or 6 years to other teams for barely anything, and watch these guys go on to be successful. I mean, they had Oladipo there, Tobias Harris, Alfred Payne they gave up Sabonis. They've given up Hazonia. Yeah, they've literally given up all these people they draft. A lot of them go on to become solid players somewhere else. And really, what do? You just watch them become these solid players. So they almost had to keep Aaron Gordon. Now, like you said, they could use him as trade bait. Or if they figure out, maybe play one of those guys at the 3 position. But we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I think with Jonathan Isaac, it's almost by default that he's the breakout player for this team. Just because of the fact that, yeah, he's coming into his second year. And he is very athletic. He could definitely rely on that. And hopefully he's going to have a lot of time to prove it. Now, like you said, I mean, him and Aaron Gordon play the same position, but I think they'll figure out how to make this fit happen and how to give him that time to make sure that he develops and showcases his talent. So this is almost by default that Jonathan Isaac will be the breakout player here. So a quick trade I'm going to propose for the Magic is the Magic trade in Nikola Vucevic, and I put the rights to swap 2019 second-round picks with the Wizards for Austin Rivers. Now, in Austin Rivers, they get a point guard / shooting guard who's 26 years old, so still fairly young. Both players have 1 year left on their contract. Both players are earning almost the same amount of money. So here they really just get a point guard / shooting guard who could shoot the ball and really control their offense for them efficiently.
Yeah, I think this would be a hard trade for Wizards to make just because they already have Dwight Howard and Ian Mahimi on the team. Now, maybe if Dwight Howard's not working out, then and they need a big because obviously Ian Mahimi's not going to be working out. Then you can do this trade. I think the Wizards wanted Austin Rivers to have some offensive, offense off the bench, some offensive firepower. Obviously, if you're the Magic, I think this would be a no-brainer because you do want to get rid of Vucevic, and you do, picking up Austin Rivers, who I'm not totally high on, but he's improved his game in the NBA, and he has showed us that he can at least score, and that he wants to be a good NBA player. So, you make this trade, of course, if you're the Magic. I don't know how happy the Wizards would be to make this trade. Probably depends on how the season comes out.
Yeah, I mean, they have Sertansky and Oubre there to back up Wall and Beal, who are both all-stars, so I don't really see what they're going to do with Austin Rivers, but they did make that trade. They traded away the centers. They don't have much depth in big men in general. I mean, they have Markieff Morris and Dwight Howard, who really limits them offensively. I actually like Dwight Howard, but he does limit them offensively, and Vucevic could stretch the floor a little bit more. He's developed a three-point shot, and I think he's been working on it a little more. So I think he'd be a nice supplement there to Dwight Howard. And both of them have injury history, so I think it'd be nice to have someone there to really both those players to back each other up. When one gets hurt, then you have someone else to come off the bench. So I think he'd be a much better fit there than Austin Rivers. But like you said, it does kind of seem like they do like Austin Rivers, so maybe they want to keep him for some reason and have that a lot of guards in their backcourt. So we'll see how they figure out those minutes for them.
Yes.
So now moving on to the Charlotte Hornets. What is the Charlotte Hornets over under?
The Charlotte Hornets projected over 35.5. Their last year record was 36 and 46. So Vegas projected them to be about the same. I am going to. I had a little bit of debate about what their over under. Should I go over or under? I decided on the under, mainly because I think their smart move would be to trade Kemba Walker. And if they trade Kemba Walker, I don't see them getting anything, at least now, and as good as Kemba Walker, because Kemba Walker is what holds this team, it led this team to 36 wins. So I would actually bet the under here. They have a few young players with Malik Monk and Mikal Bridges, but I don't, besides Kemba Walker, there really isn't anything that would show me them winning games now. So I was more confident with betting the under on this team.
Yeah, I have them predicted at 34 wins. They've won 36 the last two seasons, but I could see a little drop-off from some of their starters in terms of Marvin Williams. He's getting a little older. He's a solid player, but I could see him dropping off a little bit. I can see his defense losing maybe a step as he gets older. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist doesn't produce much, at least not in the modern NBA. I mean, he's a solid defender, but can't shoot the three. They have a couple of other their big men in Cody Zeller, Frank Kaminsky. We'll see how those guys develop. If they finally do develop, if they finally prove that they are quality rotational players. But yeah, like you said, they don't have much there outside of Kemba Walker. They really have to figure something out. I mean, Batum, we'll see how he does this year, whether he takes a step back or whether he stays on par with last season. Last season was a little bit of a drop-off for him, so maybe he'll stay on par, maybe he'll drop off a little more. I don't see him going back to the way he was 3 years ago, so I don't know what's going to happen with this team, but I could see them losing a couple more games than they did last year. I don't see a huge drop-off, but I see a small drop-off.
Yeah. So when it comes to breakout players, I had to choose. The only two I was thinking about would be Mikal Bridges and Malik Monk. And I actually went with the rookie here with Mikal Bridges just because I really like his game. Again, he's another one of these 3 and 4 guys who can defend really well. He's a decent scorer. He's not a first-year rookie. He has a few years under his belt at Michigan State. So he's coming in with a little bit more basketball experience than the other rookies. And then Malik Monk last year, he had average 6.7 points. His shooting percentage wasn't that good. He showed that he was still very raw. So I just don't think he's ready for a breakout yet, or if he's ever going to get there. I mean, I hope he does. I wish well for the kid, but I just think Mikal Bridges is just a little bit more seasoned, even though he has less NBA experience than Malik Monk. So I'm more confident in him being the breakout player. They do have a few players in that play his position, but I